Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick unboxing and first look at the HP Thunderbolt 3 G2 dock. Now, this has been on the market for several years, and I just purchased one because, well, we are still in the middle of a pandemic, and this is perfect if you have a laptop that supports Thunderbolt 3. And in addition to that, Microsoft put this on sale for $150 US. That's 100 less than retail. And considering its power supply, considering you get an HP warranty, that seemed to be a pretty good deal in my opinion. Furthermore, if you've been waiting for a Thunderbolt 4 docking system, I don't think you really need to. I mean, truth be told, the throughput is the same, and really, if you're getting a solid price on what you're picking up, that should be most important, considering I feel like Thunderbolt docks have always been overpriced. With that said, let's get this thing out of the box. I know B&H recently had on sale the Cal Digital, was it the T3 for $190, and a lot of people will swear by them. They make solid products, but again, that was limited, I think, to 87 watts. This is 120, and for me, having 120 and a well-known manufacturer like HP is a big plus. So the first thing you're seeing is a power brick, and by the way, that's not a knock at Cal Digital. They are a very good manufacturer as well. First thing we have, as I just stated, the power brick. And there is a higher watt version of this, I believe 230, but I don't recommend going that route. I mean, if you have a workstation that requires it, that's one thing, but its power cable is not the most intuitive in terms of design. So that's why I mentioned this is the one I personally would prefer. But if you need that extra wattage, then that is a solid option as well. The power cord for that brick, we've got our paperwork right here. And then we have our Thunderbolt 3 cable, which is tied right into this. So let's just pull it right out. And I mean, hassle-free going with Microsoft Store. So, I mean, that's just one thing you should be aware of, that if you choose to pick one of these up, know that buying it from Microsoft, you're not going to have any problems. They've got free returns. And again, that's if you end up needing one, which in all likelihood you won't. So design is really clean on this. This is not the model that has the speakerphone built into it. I shouldn't really call it a speakerphone, but it's basically conferencing capability, but also the ability just through Bluetooth to make and receive calls. But the beauty of this, again, is that with a single cable, you must have, of course, Thunderbolt capability on your laptop of choice. In my case, it'll be my HP Spectre, but I'll just pull over the 14T that I have right here. You know, if you have something like this, and this just happens to be something I'm reviewing right now. It's not that I'm, sponsored by HP, because I did just purchase this with my own money. Of course, this was sent over for review. You just need to hook up one cable, and that's the beauty. For those of you that are wondering why on earth you would need something like this, it's about basically convenience and practicality, because with one cable connected to your PC, you will have all of the connectivity that you need just because of this little docking system. So you can see we've got a Type-C, a Thunderbolt connection right there. And then, in addition to that, on the back of the unit, we have an Ethernet port, the actual power cable that I just showed you right here that you're going to have to connect to power this 120 watt hub. We've got two USB 3 Type A ports. We have VGA out, and then we have a DisplayPort Type-C, two DisplayPort outputs, and of course a Thunderbolt 3 output. So only one Thunderbolt 3 output, keep that in mind, but you do have connectivity, really, I think, as much as anyone would need. The only thing that I could argue this is missing is an SD card reader. That's something you will get with a product like the Cal Digital that I mentioned at the top of this video. And that's something I do wish this had, but I can't justify spending more money to get an SD card reader when I've got so many external SD card readers already that, of course, I can just plug into this. Also, this is really small. I happen to like the design on this. I believe this is the actual power button up here. And another thing that I've seen HP advertise a lot is the ability to mount this on the back of an HP monitor. And I did just purchase a Dreamcolor 31-inch. So this could be a perfect pairing with that. And the idea here is to have a workstation just up and running with, again, a single cable connecting the whole operation. You have a Kensington lock on the side of this, another Type-C port, and your headphone microphone combo jack, and that's pretty much it. Really minimal on the design front, compact, considerably smaller than a lot of other Thunderbolt 3 docks. And if you're wondering why not just get a Thunderbolt 3 dock that doesn't have this sort of power capability and is really a deck style one rather than this specific design, because there are a lot of those on Amazon that you can pick up for, you know, 100 or less. Those generally are going to be capped at 60 watts, and to me, they all are pretty ugly. Now, I'm not saying this one's a beaut, but from a overall style perspective and the design cue being a direct match with my HP monitor that I just purchased, it's kind of a no-brainer at its price point. But I'm going to come back to the power, because to have this sort of power on such a small, compact dock, I think is really the ultimate reason for picking one of these up. Now, those of you that are Mac users, I'm not going to be able to speak to support for Apple. I don't ever speak to support for Apple, so that's not what my channel's for. Could that change one day? Who knows? You never know, right? I'll never rule anything out completely, although it's highly unlikely. But the fact of the matter is this should work with Apple products, but I'll only be testing it with PC products. Another reason you might want to consider this over those generic docks that I was mentioning on Amazon is the power supply and the length of said power cable. I mean, this is all what's important. When you get those Thunderbolt 3 docks that are really inexpensive, the length of the cords, the run is incredibly short. So if in any way, shape, or form you're concerned about that, you want a little more flexibility, that's where the power cord, the brick, everything is going to make a major difference. A lot of them don't include any power delivery on them in terms of a cable, a power supply with any sort of length. They really are just relying on you hooking it up to your Thunderbolt 3 port on your system of choice, whether that's a desktop or a laptop. So again, the beauty here is that once I have everything connected to this, which I will ultimately likely drive 2 displays, because this can support 2 4K displays at 60 hertz, which is ideal. And then, of course, the USB flexibility. Would I like some more USB ports? Yeah, I mean, I would. But clearly, the idea is that if you can hook up Ethernet, keyboard, mouse, 2 monitors, and then have yet another, you have your Thunderbolt 3 port still available. I mean, technically, you can drive 3 monitors, but I believe you have to be doing that sub 4K. Of course, I will test it. I mean, technically, they've got 4 outputs here, but I will see what it can do, but I believe it caps out at 2 in 4K at 60 hertz. But just imagine that setup. So dual monitor, keyboard, and a mouse. Technically, you could really have multiple keyboards and mice and have everything hooked up, including an Ethernet connection. And then all you have to do is connect this with one umbilical, Thunderbolt 3 connection to your laptop. So it really is a matter of convenience and cable management and just keeping everything clean and as seamless as possible. I know a lot of people don't get these products. They think it's just a hub to give you more flexibility. That's not what it's about. It's about the ability to be completely plug and play on a workstation setup, essentially, which I will be doing. So in the pandemic, I think these are no-brainers. I'm not saying that it's wrong to go with the less expensive options, but having the 120 watts makes it so that this is not only going to simultaneously charge your laptop, but then you can connect other things that require power or that you want to charge, and that's really the beauty. Would I have liked to have the version that has the capability of making and receiving calls via Bluetooth? That would have been nice, but again, at 150 plus tax, this is really hard to beat. Also have read that I'm going to have to update the firmware on this for optimal capability, so we'll see what it has out of the box, because this has been on the market now for a few years. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them, and of course, as usual, please feel free to subscribe, and please stay safe. Later.